involved now. 6:22, let's have a quick look at some of the front pages this morning. We'll start with The Sun. Their headline, at last, Philpott is forced to work. Apparently he's got a job in jail as Mr Mop, cleaning up his wing, and he'll get, was it, £14 a week for that. National hero in for horror. This is the story about just the day after winning the Grand National, jockey Ryan Manier fell off his horse. Apparently he's all right. I don't know if he intended the pun, but he did tweet it that he was feeling grand. Which is good news for him. And the Daily Mail, what an insult to Christians. They're saying that Druids, vegans and green activists should now be given special treatment, according to the Equality and Human Rights Commission.
Let's take a look at the front page of this morning's Guardian. Their headline, hospitals must shrink or shut, doctors warn. GP leaders say that half of the services, apparently, that we have in hospitals should be moved closer to patients' homes. Front page of today's Times, MPs call for top bankers' pension to be cut back. This is the man accused of sowing the seeds of destruction that led to the taxpayer rescue of HBOS. He's under mounting pressure to give up some of his £20 million pension pot. And at the front page of The Independent, payday lenders targeted in Labour offensive. I could tell you more about that story, but I think I'll leave that to journalists Vicky Beeching and Kevin Maguire, who are here this morning. That's your first story, isn't it, Vicky?
It is, yes. Well, Labour are coming out really strongly saying they're going to target payday lenders and they're going to cap the number of loan sharks and betting shops on the high street. I think this is fantastic. Some of them are charging up to 1,000% of interest. And I come from Kent, and down there's a town called Chatham, and we have 23 of these loan sharks within a 1 mile radius of the town centre.
You say loan sharks, which implies, you know, it's a bit of a murky business, but they're legal. They're allowed to be there. There's a market for them. And using APR is a bit false, really, because it's short-term lending, isn't it? Pay it back at the end of the month.
It is true.
Yeah, they are legal, although some people get caught and they offer rollover loans, so you get trapped and you spend a lot. But I think what I like about the idea is your local council, which you elect, will decide on the makeup of your high street, instead of these big corporations elsewhere who can just decide to flood your area with whether it's betting shops or loan companies or whatever, and drive out, you know, fruit and veg, butchers and everybody else.
We just got a glimpse there, as Helen held up The Independent, of this this young police czar.
Paris Brown.
Paris Brown, who's also features in The Sun today, Kevin. She's been caught up in a bit of a storm about her tweets.
She has, racist, homophobic, violent. She was 16 at the time, she's now 17, and she's got this job
Just, apparently.
I know, 7 days ago. She's got this job of youth crime commissioner in Kent, you know, £15,000 a year, advising the police commissioner. I think it sounds a real gimmick. But look at her tweets, and she says, like, it's only about half a dozen of 4,000 I did. I was just trying to show off. And I do have a little sympathy for her. And I do think if you're going to have somebody advising the police commissioner on young people what they think, no point getting Anna Green Gables, because she's not involved in any crime.
And none of us actually grew up with social media. I think when I was 17 and living in Kent, you know, my diary got the brunt of my angst because there wasn't social media.
It was interesting, actually, when they were talking about... I watched an interview yesterday with the lady who appointed her, the assistant commissioner, and she said one thing we didn't do in the interview process, we didn't look through people's Twitter accounts. Well, that just shows in itself how out of touch.
Absolutely. I'm
we
amazed
are,
they didn't do that.
with younger people.
Yeah, Anne Barnes, the police commissioner, and also there's a senior police officer on the interview panel, and you think, hang on, don't you really look at people rather than just seeing a CV and thinking they're OK in the interview?
Although perhaps people should have a quick look at their tweets before they make up their mind. Vicky, let's talk about this story in the Daily Mail, that if a woman wants honesty, she should go shopping with her mum and not her male partner.
Yeah, very interesting. So 2,000 women have been surveyed, and 70% said that their mother gave the most honest advice. It wasn't necessarily the most desirable advice, but she was the one most likely to say, that really doesn't suit you. Apparently, husbands and boyfriends were worst. 56% of them were said to lie just to get the trip over and done with.
Is that you, Kevin?
I plead fully guilty to that. Can you imagine if, no, you don't look good in that? Why?
You'd be there the rest of the day, wouldn't you?
You have a row.
It is the one area where honesty really is not the best policy. I've been there myself. It's awful. Still suffering the ramifications.
Does my bum look big in this?
Talking about... you look amazing, sweetheart. Let's just move on to this story in the Mail. This isn't honest, actually. It's supposedly a toy poodle, but is it really? Let's have a look.
It's actually a ferret on steroids, and they're being... There it is, that's a ferret in steroids, and they're being sold in Argentina, £500 a time. But you think, who is so short-sighted to go for it and be partnered with their cash that easily? But, you know.
I don't know, I'd never have said that was a ferret.
It doesn't look anything like a ferret, does it?
Does
And apparently ferrets retail at 50 quid, and then poodles at 500, so... I mean, I wouldn't look at that and think it was a poodle ever.
You was a northerner not recognising a ferret. I thought you'd always have one in a sack.
How's that going to fit down your trousers, though, hey?
Yeah, no, that's right, yeah.
Oh, dear. Lovely to see you. Thank you for the entertainment.
That poor ferret. I feel really sorry